Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Jana Talk podcast. Today we have the special questions episode where we will dig deeper with my today's guest, who you might seen last Sunday in the interview in the podcast. I'm speaking about Alan Kenna, a leadership mentor, also paramedic and founder of Transformational Mentorship. He is helping individuals and companies to improve the communication skills and also to build a true leader. And the last episode, we spoke about how should a true leader look like, what important characters should he or she implement, and also the most common mistakes the companies make, because if the communication is not set up correctly, then the business is not growing. So if you haven't watched last week's episode, definitely watch it. And today, please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome together with me my today's guest, Alan Kenna again. Hello, Alan. Nice to see you.
Back again. Thank you so much, Jana. Really appreciate it.
So, Alan, thank you very much one more time for last week's episode. It was truly, truly very valuable because you mentioned so many amazing tips the companies make mistakes or where to focus on regarding the communication. So it was really great, and also about the mission. So now this episode is about you, purely about you. Tell me, what do you do to prevent stress?
What do I do to prevent stress? Very easy. And I believe everybody can do this. It only takes a pair of runners and getting outside. It is, I think we all know that exercise is one of the biggest things for reducing stress. It's proven, there's papers on it. It doesn't have to be running. You can simply just put on some music and move your body. It's movement. It's changing your physiological state. Tony Robbins teaches this all the time, and it is so powerful that you just cannot. It's just too difficult to be stressed when you are when you're moving your body. And we've all had that moment, you've woken up in the morning, you've gotten out of bed late, you've stubbed your toe, your alarm clock's going off, you can't get the kids out the door quick enough, you've got a meeting to go to, and you're driving and you pull out of your state, and what's in front of you, traffic, and you're like looking at the phone, it's telling you you're going to be half an hour late, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going crazy. And then you turn on your radio and all you hear is, don't stop believing, and you're just like, arms out the window, volume up to 20, and you just start freaking out and singing along to something on the radio. And immediately, where's the stress gone? It hasn't disappeared. It's gone out the window. The scenario hasn't changed, but your physiology has changed, and your focus has changed, and your stress levels go down. You're still going to be late. You still have to do the presentation. The kids were still, all that stuff nothing's changed within the reality, but has changed your physiology. And, like I said, for me, it's running. I love to run. I love to move my body. It doesn't matter how many things are going on. When you get out and you move your body, and that can be, I love, like I said, I love jogging, and I love playing soccer with my boy, with Adam, and getting out there and playing with him. And just a little point on that is that, especially people who have kids, you might have a very busy business or a job, or you're trying to do things, when you can give yourself that gift of movement mixed with somebody else or your kids, be consciously aware to park everything else just for that moment. All right. You can go back to being stressed afterwards. I think that's really important, because I used to, think that I wasn't achieving the things that I wanted to do because I was spending time with moving my body and with my kids and stuff like that. It's totally separate. You'll come back to something far more refreshed if you could just park it just for a moment and get out and move your body. So, I think that's my number one thing, is some type of movement. For people who can't run, swim. For people who can't swim, ski, or there's always something. It doesn't matter what shape, size, fitness level that you're at. Movement is one of the biggest things to shifting the stress. Because look, you can go back to doing the stress afterwards. It's no hassle. It's going to be there.
Love it. Love it. How does your daily routine look like? For example, morning, do you have some special, my dog wanted to greet you as well. She was, she will give me some kisses now.
Very cute.
She was starting to cry. So I just, sorry.
No,
Just,
okay. Do doggy episode. I get my dog, which is good.
Yeah. So this is Rose. This is my dachshund.
Very good. This is a great way of de-stressing as well.
Oh,
Talking to the
absolutely,
dog or
absolutely.
taking her for a walk.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Alan, tell me, what do you do? How does your daily routine look like? Do you have some special habits in the morning? What do you apply?
So I have a very unique circumstance in that, as you said, I work as a paramedic. So I work shift work, which means I do 12-hour shifts and I do 4 different shift patterns. So sometimes I start at 8 o'clock, sometimes I start at 9 o'clock, sometimes I start at 10 o'clock, and sometimes I start at 11 o'clock. And then I do 12 hours. And then I do all random, I have 11 different weeks of random start times and random shift patterns. So to me, it's I have to change my routine every single day, pretty much
Wow.
every
Wow.
single day. So if you're in a 9 to 5 and you start and end at the same time every single day, well, you probably have a blessing in disguise that you don't realize, because it means you can, with the way fitness is these days, or fitness, just for an example, is fitness classes are starting at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. because they know people want to get up and get the day going as quickly as possible. So
Uh-huh.
even if I'm on a late shift, I will still try to get up as early as possible in the morning. You got to win the morning.
Uh-huh.
And that's that. It doesn't, not that it doesn't matter. I tried the whole 4 a.m. wake up thing and I used to fall back asleep because I didn't that is also a crock of crap. Unless you're getting up at 4 to actually do something productive that's going to move you forward, well, then you're wasting your time. You need to do something productive. You need to do something with that
Uh-huh.
time. So for me, it's getting up. I sit down, I brush your teeth, whatever. I write down what it is. I get a cup of coffee or a pre-workout if I'm going to running or something like that, and I write out what it is I want my life to look like, and I visualize it. 5-10 minutes max, nothing crazy, and then for me, I got to move my body. So I got to go for, sometimes it's 5K, sometimes it's 15K, depends on the day of the week. Sometimes it's getting to work early so I can go to the gym and then work out.
Uh-huh.
So for me, it's always some type of movement, and then the day kicks into whatever it is that you have on your list to do, whether it's work, whether it's your business, you have your things to do. And look, I believe that you should try every way of doing your morning, because nobody has tried them all. And don't take my advice for it. We've heard this before, and I say this at all my talks, is like, don't believe a word I say. Don't believe anything I say until you've tried it yourself and and it fits your life, because there is no hack. It's just what works for you, what makes things move forward, where you
Uh-huh.
see the progress, where you see the gains. And if it doesn't, there's like an Instagram girl who she starts her day at 1 a.m. because, and people are like, oh my God, I've started 1 a.m. now. What the? No, she's like 19, no kids. And that works for her. It's not going to work for you if you've got 2 kids and a full-time job, and it's unrealistic. And she says that. She comes straight out, it's like, this is for me. You got to find your own thing. Maybe it's reading, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's grounding, maybe it's exercise, maybe it's whatever. But find something to get you in the productive mood. And it is a move to move forward with the day.
But this is now about you, not about
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
people. But so this is like about what helps you to prevent stress, and like also to gain more energy and so on. So what I understood from what you were mentioning is running, which is really
Yeah.
amazing. I saw on Facebook and on Instagram how active you are. Really, congratulations.
Thanks.
This is really awesome. And I love how you mentioned that getting up early, whatever day it is, whatever schedule you have, and writing down and visualizing. I really love that you visualize things. So you visualize, if I understood correctly, how the day should look like. Is that correct?
I take into I not specifically that day. It might be that day if I have something on that's important. If I have a presentation, I will see the presentation completed and everybody enjoying what they've learned. Other times it's stuff that's I want to achieve in the future. It's seeing myself at a different desk than where I am right now. Instead of looking at a wall, I'm looking out at the ocean. It's seeing myself going across the line if I'm training for a marathon or an ultra marathon, or maybe sometimes it's a date night that I want, or I believe that it's your choice. You can be very specific and intentional about what it is that you want to see, or sometimes you can just let it flow and pick a couple of things that you're really grateful for. I will personally move sometimes between doing my own thing, writing out my own goals and visualizing, and then sometimes, and if there's a lot of challenges going on and there's a lot going on in my head, I will do the Tony Robbins priming, the morning prime with
Yeah.
him, because it's guided, it's very intentional, there's movement involved, and it gets me into a different state, and I feel that that's very beneficial. So again, I'll move between a couple of different techniques, a couple of different ways of starting the day depending on what I need. I think that's the most important thing.
So do you prefer coffee or tea in the morning?
Coffee at the moment.
Oh, so good. Me too. And one more thing. What about evening habits? Do you have some evening rituals or habits? What you do during the day?
At the I So again, because just different days of the week and different ways the day ends, I think if I was to do one thing routinely, that I've started fairly new, is when I come in, I come up to my desk here and I plug my phone in and I leave it there and I leave the room. I you know
Great.
I put it somewhere so that I'm not going downstairs making a cup of tea and scrolling, or whatever the case may be. I do my best to try to get rid of my phone as quickly as possible as soon as I come in the door, and so that it's gone, and I'm not, because the light and distraction and whatever else, you don't need that. A cup of tea in the evening time is always nice. Just and then I'm blessed that I have my partner here, Vanessa, and we'll have a chat about anything really, just to see how the day is gone, and go to bed in a good mood. Well, if my kids are over, just going in and just having a look at them, and they might already be asleep. I think small things that just allow you to disconnect from the day. I don't. I think we talked about it in the previous podcast, but I always try to do my best throughout the day as I'm going through it, and do it in real time. If there's something I need to learn, I'll try learn it as soon as possible, as quickly as possible, so that it can just be done. So, I'm not getting to the end of the day and reflecting or writing down or anything like that. It's just like, okay, that's done. If there's something that needs to be changed, I'll deal with it in the morning. We'll manage it in the morning.
Perfect. How would your ideal day look like?
Oh, I
What
love it.
time would you get up? And
Yeah, this is. I'm blessed that I've lived this day a couple of times, not consistently, but a few years ago, I pinched myself. I was like, oh my God, I have created my perfect day, where it was up early, doing a visualization, going for a run, home, breakfast with the kids, them off to school. And then I had back-to-back one-to-one when I used to do one-to-one coaching. I had 3 coaching sessions in the afternoon, 3 fantastic breakthroughs for clients I was working with. Then the kids came home from school, did lunch. I think I did a bit more work in the afternoon. And then, anybody with kids knows that they have activities. So it was just like kids' activities, going to soccer or whatever the case may be, dinner in the evening time. I think we watched a short movie and then off to bed. I was just like, wow. The only
Wow.
the only thing that was missing is that we weren't by the beach. It was we're in Ireland, it's cold all the time. But apart from that, but everything else was just like, wow, that's insane. So when I write about now, it's very similar. It is very similar. And again, I think I did a reel on this the other day. It was just like, there are parts you might have an ideal day that you want to create, or a scenario, but maybe just pause for yourself and think, well, what are some of the things you can actually pull already into right now that would be part of it? And maybe it is just that, writing out. Maybe it is the exercise. Maybe it is dinner or a dinner in the evening, and maybe you can't do breakfast or whatever the case may be. But you might have already the bones of the day, that the perfect day that you want to create. So and be grateful for that. And then, okay, well, what else can I? And that's what I'm always thinking is, well, where else can I create the opportunities? This is a great opportunity that came from a message, that we're able to talk about this. Okay, how can we do more of it? If I want, if you're a perfect example of this. This Jana talk started with an idea, and then you made it, and you made it into, you created it into your world. So, yeah, that's
Thank you.
I've got a
That's
question.
really, really, I love that you already lived many times your
Mm.
ideal day. That's really awesome, and that you also realized it. That's also
Yeah,
important part. One more thing I wanted to ask you. Ireland is beautiful, by the way. I have spent there 2 summers, and I just love it. What is your favorite vacation? Do you like to spend it somewhere where it's hot weather, or you prefer to go to the mountain or city?
on a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like it warm, if at all possible, for sure. Like, again, my ideal world will live somewhere by the beach in the future, or at least in a hot country. So, but you got to experience, you got to be grateful to be able to travel in the first place, no matter where you're going, and you sort of just, whatever the weather's like, you deal with it when you're there, and there's no such thing as bad weather, it's just bad preparation. But and certainly, if I had the choice, it would be somewhere hot like Colombia. Uh,
Oh.
but I love London as well. I love the busyness of it, and the culture of Paris, and anywhere I've got an
Mm.
opportunity to go is, I'm very grateful for.
Love it. Do you have any message you would like to share before we leave with the people who are watching or listening to today's episode?
I think I went off on a tangent about it at the start. It was just like, whatever your ideal, whatever you can figure out works for you, do that. Don't. I firstly, don't throw away people's suggestions on how you can change your habits, or how you can change your morning, or whatever the case may be. Whatever it is, try it on, give it a go, and commit to it for 30 days, and adapt it to your
Mm.
to your scenario, because everybody has a different life. I think if you're listening to this and you're replaying the same day over and over and over again. I do, like I said, I do a lot of running, and I run over a bridge every morning, and just the traffic's going into the city, and I think to myself, there is probably about 80% of those people who do that every single day. And maybe they're happy, maybe they're not, I don't know. But I know I certainly wouldn't be, because I lived that life before, just going the same direction. And have that awareness to go, well, I'm not happy doing this. I need to try something different. And, you might not change your job, or change your scenario, or change your body, or change anything overnight, but certainly, you know, start to take some small steps. Start to, have a look at, well, how, what's a different routine in the morning that will affect how the rest of my day is going to go, and how I'm going to feel about it. Because it'll just start you down a journey of possibility. And then, if it works, keep going and keep diving deeper, and start to interact with the information that's out there, and the mentors that are out there, that will guide you along the way when you feel like giving up, and you feel like quitting. I think that's really important. To do, try things differently. Try things until you figure out what the right combination is that works for you, that gives you the greatest return for your time. Because we all got a finite amount of it, so we better do our best with what we have.
Alan, thank you very
You're
much for
welcome.
today's episode and for your amazing tips. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the future by some new episode. But thank you very much really for your time today.
Thank you, Jan. I really appreciate it. Great questions.
Thank you very much. And thank you, all of you who are watching or listening to today's episode. Thank you for your time that you follow Podcast and I Talk. And if you know about anyone who might need a little encouragement or inspiration, feel this episode with them. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next time, next Sunday at 7 p.m. Wish you a wonderful evening and wonderful week ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.